Okay, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. To begin the week, it's been wet in, well, our area of Lagos, geography being such that nothing might have happened where you happen to be in some far-flung corner of Lagos, if you get what I mean. But thank you for joining us. Disturbing news, but also on a congratulatory note, Mr. Femi Babafemi, Director of Media and Advocacy of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, put it out there yesterday that the NDLEA has uncovered what is referred to as a clandestine laboratory where Colos, or Colorado, which is slang for a synthetic strain of cannabis where it is being produced, and in a residential building located at Ajao Estate in Isolo in Lagos. The operatives received large quantities of freshly cooked, and I'm quoting directly from their statement, freshly cooked Colos and various precursor chemicals used in drug production. Okay, so this is terrible news in the sense that they are producing it in this kind of quantity. We expect to be joined by Mr. Femi Babafemi, who, as I said, is Director of Media and Advocacy. But you begin to wonder what exactly has been going on, because I imagine people like the NDLEA have been working around the clock, and I just don't know what is expected. We have a situation here. Drugs are being, first of all, they used to be imported, but now we actually are manufacturing our own here. Now, I use the word manufacturing advisedly because if not, it would have been a matter of harvesting. After all, cannabis is a plant, and when it is ripe for harvest, that's what they'll go and do. But we understand, and that's why we really need Mr. Femi Babafemi to come and guide us on this conversation. But I think it's out there. What is out there is enough that Colos, which is the way it's short for Colorado, and Colorado itself, we don't know how it came to bear the name of a drug. Now it's a synthetic drug. It's different from the natural cannabis we understand in that it is prepared in a lab. Whether or not cannabis is sort of the basic stock upon which they add other things, I'm not in a position to tell. But Femi Babafemi, when he comes on, will probably know more about it. But that's the situation. Now, it's not just that it's a sort of a manufactured variant, a synthetic version of cannabis, but also that some of the things that have gone into it have made it much more dangerous. I mean, it's bad enough. Cannabis is bad enough, but you're now manufacturing it, producing it, at least they're using the word laboratory. Maybe that comes from, we've heard of laboratories in the US and in other countries, but that usually is concerned with cocaine, heroin, and all of that. But now we're hearing from our own, Femi Babafemi, Director of Media and Advocacy, that a big quantity has been found. There were some details. Apparently, there's a musician who was also arrested. He's involved. One has to be careful about this, but was it at his nightclub, that kind of a thing? So I understand that we have Femi Babafemi in the house now, so that's good to know. Mr. Babafemi is Director of Media and Advocacy at the Nigeria Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Good morning to you, Femi. Thank you for coming on.
Very well, thank you, Yori. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure to be with you again this morning.
indeed. But this is, I don't know, it's good news on one hand, operationally, but it's bad news that such a volume, and that was only one instance that you cited yesterday, that such volume as we've just seen is still being in production. First of all, I wanted to ask the overall question, have we not been able to dent the supply of these drugs? Sorry, maybe you didn't hear me. Have we not been able to dent the supply of these drugs? Yes, that was for you. That was for you.
Okay, please, can you come again? I mean, the network froze.
Okay, sorry about that. I was wondering if if we haven't been able to actually stem the supply of these drugs all this while that we've been at it.
Can you come again? There was a freeze there. I obviously didn't hear you properly.
Okay, I'll tell you what. It will come out. Let's go on to what you put out there yesterday, that a 30-year-old lab owner, Stephen Kelechi Umo, is helping you with your investigations as the parlance goes. But was that as the result, the seizure or the arrest or the interception, was that as a result of intelligence?
Absolutely, that I'll tell you, and it's not something that just it's something that started months ago. Basically, even in our statement, we did say that we had some. Don't forget that Colorado, which is popularly known on the street as Colos, is something alien to us. It's something imported, and it's a synthetic cannabis, meaning that it's produced along with THC with some other chemicals. So that makes it strange to us because these are not things we produce here. They are usually smuggled in and very dangerous. Most of those videos you find online where you find young people falling into the gutters or hitting their heads on electricity poles or even rolling on the floor. Those are the kind of things that's a particular substance that they usually abuse because it's very high potent in its psychoactive function in the body. Content. But then, in this case, strangely, we made an arrest and seizures in March and in May too, across Lagos, and these were freshly produced Colorados, and we then began to think this couldn't have been imported, meaning that this must have been produced locally, not just even outside Lagos, but within Lagos, because they were freshly produced, meaning that they were produced within the area. And so we began to gather intelligence to be able to track where that was coming from. And that what we had over the weekend was one of the results of our intelligence gathering efforts. We're able to trace one of such to unfortunately, again, we found that in a residential apartment within a residential estate, meaning that this individual is not only was not only constituting danger to himself but also to others who live in that compound and in that neighborhood, because chemicals are involved. And the videos we release of the clandestine laboratory, you find the colors of the chemical, even the skin pigmentation. His own skin was already being affected by the effect of these chemicals. So then you can just imagine what he is producing is doing to the lives, to the lungs, to the organs of the individuals who are consuming them, and even to the waterbed in that community, in that area, because these things are poured into the drainage, into the gutters in that place, and these things have a way of penetrating, going down. And in that kind of area, most likely people there depend on wells or depend on boreholes. So all of these are poisoning not only himself, and not only those consuming what he's producing, but also poisoning others who live in such neighborhoods.
One name was mentioned. The reports did quote, you are saying that a 30-year-old lab owner, Stephen Kelechi Imo. So I wanted to ask about that. The fact that he's also thought to be a musician, if I read the reports right, as well. So I don't know which one is on the side. I don't know which.
That's a different person.
That's a
different person.
That's a different incident.
Yeah, absolutely. The lab owner is the Kelechi Stephen Imo. That's the fair guy. We put his picture out there.
Okay.
Why the musician actually was involved in the importation of a huge consignment of another strain of cannabis, which is popularly called Loud. That was the one that was involved. That's the musician called, I think, Steady Boy. Steady Boy.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Steady Boy. Okay, so here we are. You mentioned, you know, you mentioned and explained that in one instance, Colos or Colorado is a variant. It's a thing. We read that it's a synthetically produced form of cannabis. On the one hand, now what is Loud, which you said is the case of a different incident?
Yeah, Loud is another strain of cannabis. Is also a very potent and strong one that is stronger than what we have here. That's the attraction there. The THC content is usually very high and potent, so that's why our young people go for this, especially these two variants. And unfortunately, recently in Lagos, we've also discovered another variant coming in, which is called California Loud. So we really have, it's really a big challenge on our hands, and that's why everybody needs to get involved in this, either at the family level or at the community level, even the society at large.
To our viewers, when you said THC there, we're talking about the psychoactive aspect of cannabis, are we not?
Oh, that's called the tetrahydrocannabinol.
Yes, so that is, but that is the psychoactive part of the whole cannabis plant.
Absolutely.
Because you take out THC, there's nothing to it anymore. It doesn't shock, it doesn't do anything. So I think that's how they measure the potency. And it would appear from what you've just told us that in the case of the incident that was bust yesterday, the bust of yesterday, well, it was reported yesterday, it might have been earlier, but you put it out yesterday. The THC, which is the psychoactive aspect, the psychoactive part of the cannabis plant, apparently that's where the whole artificial manufacturing comes in. They are able to heighten the, shall we say, percentage of THC that you were talking about.
No, Yori, what they do, the THC comes from the cannabis itself, right?
Okay.
Now, they then bring some other chemicals. If you go through our statement, we listed about some other 3 chemicals we recover from that lab. They then mix it with the THC.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's what makes it synthetic, meaning that it's just not just one substance, but I mean it's mixed with some other chemical elements, which makes it very dangerous. That's exactly, like I did say, that if you look at the skin of the young man himself, he's already suffering from skin pigmentation, meaning that his skin is already peeling off as a result of the effect of the chemicals he's mixing. I mean, he's in contact with every day in the course of the production.
Well, yes. So, I mean, when you say, when the report was telling us that it's, there was a lab, I can begin to understand it, because THC is not something that you can see like that. The THC component of cannabis is not something you can see like that. So it'll take a lab to extract it, to extract THC from the cannabis plant. So clearly these guys must have had some advanced form of operation that they are able to do that, and as you said, then mix it up with other things. Am I still on track, or do you need to clarify my understanding of this?
Yes. What they do is they have this cannabis. In fact, I'll tell you, I'm sure we have another case we are working on, which hopefully will be communicating to the public before the end of this week. You know, they are evolving in different ways, in different dimensions, as a result of their desperation to make money and to mislead the young people. They are packaging these things in diverse ways to attract the young people and also lure them into addiction. Because I'll tell you that indeed in this case, because you know, cannabis is something that is addictive. It's something that when you take it, you want to. I mean, when you take it over time, you want to take something higher. And so that's why they are now mixing some other substances to it with it, so that it can give you that higher feeling. But then invariably, the higher feeling is not just the feeling, but adding some more complications into the individual's health, to the individual's life.
I see there's a problem. It's just as well that we're using the form THC as a sort of abbreviation, because you just said it out, but it is actually, THC is tetrahydrocannabinol. Did I get that?
Yeah. Absolutely. You got it.
Exactly. So that is the psychoactive ingredient that all these so when you say lab, so these people are not illiterates. These people have some sort of knowledge. I'm trying to determine the level of sophistication.
Unfortunately, I don't think he's an expert, because he's doing this because experts would not do. You know, unfortunately, because the internet has made the world itself a small space.
That's right.
So you can learn anything and everything on the internet.
Okay.
Obviously, his case is obviously he must have. I doubt if he has any formal education in that regard. So he's obviously picking these things through some other indirect means because when you see the effect of the chemicals he's mixing, he himself is in contact with, you will know that, because anybody that is knowledgeable about the effect of these chemicals will not be having such direct contact with the chemicals.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes. And so that's why those things are already having an effect or impact on his own skin.
So,
and just imagine what that would do to the lives to the organs of those consuming what he is producing.
That's right. Okay. Now, another thing is, how are this new form of the drug, this iteration of the drug, we're talking about cannabis here. There are many other drugs that come under your purview, but we just so happen to be talking about cannabis here. Is it smoked? Is it vaped? That's another form, I understand.
Well, they consume it in different ways. Some of them make it, they smoke it. Some eat it raw. Some cook it with other edibles like rice, like noodles. Some convert it to tea. They make it their tea. Some vape it. So they do it they consume it in different ways.
The seizure, because I'm taking for granted that whatever was found there would have been seized. Have you been able to put a sort of a street value to it, as you often, as drug professionals often do? To put
in this case, we have all of those items in our forensic lab in Lagos at the moment, undergoing some higher level of investigation. But then those things don't come cheap. That I can tell you, Yori. Those things don't come cheap, especially Colos. Colos is the most expensive of cannabis variants. Colos, I'll tell you, is the most expensive, and that's why it doesn't come cheap. It doesn't come cheap. That I can tell you, because if you have to be putting figures to it again, you are driving the curiosity and the imagination of some other people again who will want to. Who may want to look at how to do Dirty December.
Okay, so we can't encourage that in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
But when you know, when you say, you said it doesn't come cheap, but at the same time, I was going to wonder, what are the target audience? Is it not the youth who oftentimes are not employed? God forbid, perhaps school children are involved. So if it doesn't come cheap, maybe that's why you don't have too many poor people being addicted to heroin or cocaine. They simply can't afford it. But you said that this form of cannabis, you say it doesn't come cheap.
Yeah, because there is not just ordinary cannabis, they are mixed with some chemicals. Like in that case, what we recovered from him, we recovered about 3 other different chemicals, which he was using to produce the Colos there. So meaning that, I mean, he must have spent some fortune acquiring those, procuring those chemicals. And you know, some of those things also are sold in the black market because he cannot access them because he doesn't obviously have any license to produce any drug. So he must have acquired them through the black market.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Okay. But then in this case, like you mentioned, our youth, basically. Yeah. And that's why we keep hammering on the fact that parents have a lot to do. I'm telling you. I mean, gone are the days when parents are really involved, are very much alive in the lives of their kids. But these days, you find parents that don't really care about what the changing patterns of the lifestyle of their kids, of their wards. So we need parents that are really intentional in their parenting. Okay. That way you'll be able to know what your kids are doing, what they are consuming, the changes in their lifestyle. You'll be able to know these things. They don't just happen overnight. They happen gradually. There must be some early signs. There must be some changes in the lives of your kids that you know that this kid is already experimenting with something, because they usually start from either alcohol or cigarette or even from to the opioids, and then they keep graduating. And so, if you are intentional, if you are really involved in the lives of your kids, you will be able to know early. And that's why one of the reasons why the NDLEA came out with the drug integrity testing, so that parents, we have the kits out there in all our commands across the country, and we're partnering with other private organizations to ensure that this is available to everybody. Apart from encouraging schools, fortunately for us, again, the Federal Ministry of Education is partnering with us, is working with us on this to ensure that students of tertiary institutions, by the time they are gaining admission, they are made to undergo drug integrity tests so that we can know their status. For those that are already experimenting, so that they can start treatment early enough before it degenerates into a case of dependence.
Okay, tell you what, Femi, one moment, please. First of all, to make an announcement that we are going to be cutting over to a live transmission, and that's about the commissioning of the Igbaraodo-Ikogosi Road, and just in Ekiti State. But of course, everybody's still watching this now, especially if you're watching this on terrestrial, then do please link up with our channel, with our YouTube channel, and we'll continue. As for our viewers in the diaspora, they don't have a problem. They will continue to see us. Mr. Femi Babafemi, Director of Media and Advocacy of the NDLEA, is still very much with us. So you can always catch us on our YouTube channel. We have Mr. Joshua in Irewolede on the line. Good morning, Mr. Joshua.
Good morning to you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And my greetings to your guest, the NDLEA representative there.
Yes.
The first on Guyori, I need to commend NDLEA, especially their head now, the retired General Bamawa.
Yes.
That man is a gift to Nigeria. If not, I mean, everything would have overwhelmed this nation. The drug issue, Uncle Yori, just to go straight to it, is something that should be tackled more from the point of prevention. This is a very serious epidemic that I'm wondering why it seems like we are still very much silent about it. as it were. Though the operatives are doing their job, they are busting these guys, it's highly commendable. But the government needs to do more in terms of education and in terms of intelligence gathering. Some time ago, a doctor published...
Oh, sorry about that. Well, of course you are there, you can speak yourself, but I am aware that the NDLEA has been doing these educational, outings over the decades, not years. They go to events. There might be trade shows, there might be exhibitions. They go with specially prepared samples to sort of enlighten the people. But that gentleman, Mr. Joshua, calling in from Irewolide, he was saying that perhaps there's more to the information that you could put out to the public to make them knowledgeable about this whole matter. What would be your response to that suggestion?
First, I would like to appreciate Mr. Joshua for his understanding of the work of the agency and his kind remarks, especially towards the chairmanship executive of the agency and the organization as a whole. We appreciate that, and those are the things that actually encourage us to go all out and to continue and to maintain the momentum we are having and even intensify. That said, I'll tell you that indeed, like you rightly said, our work is primarily, stands primarily on two major pillars. That is the drug supply reduction, which is the one that the public actually identify more with. That is where we carry out raids, where we make arrests, seizures, prosecution, and even now we're going after the assets of the individuals involved in this illicit drug trade. That is, on the one hand, that is the area we call the drug supply reduction. On the other hand, that is of equal importance to us, where I can even say maybe we do much more, but then because it's not something that the public identifies that much with, and that is the demand reduction, where we actually do target prevention, because when we look at the 2018 drug survey report, you look at it's approximated, we have 14.3 million Nigerians who had experimented or who had taken illicit substances the previous year, meaning that if we say we're a population of 230 million people, meaning that we still have over 200 million people who are not yet using drugs. So we have a responsibility to ensure that we sensitize them, we let them know about the dangers of getting involved, and so that will prevent them from getting involved. That's the area of our drug demand reduction. And in the case where anybody already goes into substance abuse, we also have a system in place to show them care, to show them empathy, to show them, to provide support for them. And that is where we provide counseling, treatment, and rehabilitation. And we have, I can tell you that in the area of sensitization, we go to schools, we go to motor parks, we go to marketplaces, we go to events, we go to the palaces of traditional rulers, we go to workplaces, we go to, like you said, we organize road shows, either as an organization as NDLEA or in partnership with civil society organizations, with non-governmental organizations, with faith-based organizations, with community-based organizations. And in the case that the individuals are already abusing illicit substances, like I said, we also have treatment and counseling centers, 30 of them across the country, that I can assure you, in our commands across the country. And in the last 4.5 years, we've attended to almost 30,000. We've treated and rehabilitated 30,000, though majority of them through brief intervention. So that's how much we have done in that regard. And it's in that area again that we are doing, we are conducting, we are deploying. I would also like to add to that apart from the people that have actually benefited directly from our treatment and counseling centers, we also have helpline. That's a 24/7 call center where we have counselors, clinical psychologists, psychotherapists, and psychiatric doctors that work 24/7 every day of the week, where they provide support to those that are in their homes. Probably they don't know how to get help, or they don't know where to go, they can call our toll-free helpline, which is 0800 1020 30 40. And then it's toll-free. They are not paying for it. The bill is on us. And then they'll be able to speak with our advocates who will guide them, who will put them on teletherapy, and who will support them and see them through the challenge, the process, until they are fully, they are back to themselves, and then they can continue their life without any fear of being judged or stigmatization.
How many major busts have you had this year?
Of this particular one?
No. Other major busts in this year. This is not the first.
An everyday thing. It's an everyday thing, Yori. That I can tell you, it's an everyday thing. We only pick just some samples across the country that we report weekends, but it's an everyday thing.
Okay.
Yori, as we speak, I can tell you that we've had in the last 50-something months, we've had more than 12 million kilograms of assorted illicit substances seized. 12 million kilograms. That's one of the highest anywhere in the world.
That means that we're talking about what? We're talking in what? Thousands of tons.
Obviously, that's 12 million kilograms. That should give you 12,000 tons.
Yes.
Tons.
Yes. All of these. And what usually happens, I think there's somebody on the line. Let me just not hold that one on indefinitely. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Okay. You can speak with Femi. Okay. Please go ahead.
Let me first, through Mr. Babafemi, thank General Marwa and his team for good work they are doing for Nigeria. General Marwa has brought life to NDLEA, just like what Brian Akinyu brought to NAFDAC.
Yes.
When these institutions were created, nobody knew them until these two individuals came there, and it's now looking like something else. So we really want to be grateful to General Marwa for what he's doing there.
Okay.
I want to ask Mr. Babafemi this question. I've been watching all the regulations that you bring to public space, but what about the corporates? We don't hear about conviction and what has happened after they've been arrested, and then those people behind them. This boy that you are referring to now, a 30-year-old boy that has a factory in the house, may not be the extra figure that brought that factory to form. What about those people behind them? So that, because what drug has done to Nigeria is very serious. You'll be driving along the road, you see the way these boys who are on drug drive, go to 4 Milan Bridge. If you are on free, in the evening or so when the road is free, they drive 160 on the bridge. Where is the road in Nigeria that you can drive like that? So many things happen through drug addiction and drug influence.
Okay.
And it's doing a lot of damage to the society.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that if there is punitive, there are punitive measures that people know that if they are caught, that there will be punishment for it. Maybe that will reduce it. I like what you are already doing in schools. That before somebody is admitted, he has to go through a drug test. When the youth know about it, maybe all those things can reduce it. But there's need to punish those people behind it.
Okay.
That's my suggestion. Thank you very much once again for what you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. George. Okay, so Femi, you just heard him.
Thank you very much, Mr. George, again for your kind words on the chairman, chief executive of the agency, General Marwa, and the agency as a whole. We appreciate your understanding and your acknowledgement of the work the agency is doing. Now to the two issues you raised. One is on the convictions, that you are aware we make these arrests, we make these decisions, but you don't hear about the conviction. I can tell you that the convictions, the same way we are making the arrest every day, the convictions are also being recorded every day. But then again, this has to do with how the media treats these things. But then they are reported. It may not be in equal measure. The way the media will report the arrest, the seizures, it may not be in equal measure with the same way with. And I can tell you that just as I was telling you that we made in the last 56 months, we've made more than 72,000 arrests. The same thing, I can tell you that within the same period, more than 9,200 offenders have been convicted, serving jail terms. I mean, these are things out there in the public domain that I can tell you, but it's just that the way they are being reported may not be in the same equal measure that you see as frequently as you see those of the arrest. And the second issue he raised, Mr. George raised there, is about the barons. And I can tell you that more than ever in the history of this agency, this is a time that the NDLEA under Marwa goes after every traceable, identifiable baron. We don't just stop at the arrest of the mules, the traffickers, the dealers. No, we go all the way. And that's why within the same period, we've had more than 107 big barons arrested, prosecuted, and those that are some are still prosecuted. And just this Friday, 3 of them were convicted in Lagos, at the Federal High Court in Lagos. We hope to communicate that when we have the CTC copy of the judgment. That's the people involved in trafficking over 17 point something kg cocaine to Australia. That was just something that happened in October, some few weeks ago. Fortunately, within the very short space, we've been able to get them convicted in court. That I can assure you, we'll be communicating that. So we do go after everybody. That I can tell you, and I can show you that it's actually a deliberate operational policy of the Marwa leadership of the agency to go after the big barons. So because when you take down the big barons, then that cartel is dismantled. That syndicate, that network is dismembered, because there'll be nothing holding the moves together again.
A bit of a controversial one here, but let me ask it. What is our attitude? Because in America, and perhaps in not just America, also in other jurisdictions, they are developing, researching something called medicinal marijuana. Is Nigeria interested in that whole area? They say this medicinal marijuana has been able to achieve results that conventional medicine has not achieved. Now, I wonder, given our own attitude to drugs generally, are we able to make any allowance for any scientific research along those lines?
All right, thank you very much, Yori. I'll tell you that the NDLEA is very proactive in this regard. Recently, the leadership of the agency commissioned the Nigerian Academy of Science, which is the highest scientific body in the country, comprising people, experts in different scientific fields, pharmacy, medicine, what have you. Commissioned NAS, that's Nigerian Academy of Science, to do a research in that regard, and that research is ongoing. In fact, recently, just about 3 weeks ago, they had a workshop in Abuja here, where actually General Marwa made the position of the agency known on the issue of cannabis. Indeed, we know that across the world, some countries have allowed recreational or medicinal use of cannabis. And again, we also know that in those climes also, we have also seen some of them, after a short while, putting back restrictions on the use of cannabis because of the results, the explosion in abuse by the young people. And I can cite Thailand for you. Thailand, for instance, in 2022, decriminalized the use of cannabis for medical uses, and within a space of 2-3 years, there was an explosion. And I can tell you that by June this year, 2025, Thailand had to return or place the restrictions back again to ensure that, it doesn't become another thing. And so that's why we are very cautious. For us, like I said, the Chairman Chief Executive of the NDLEA made the position of the agency known at the NAS, that's the Nigerian Academy of Science workshop in Abuja some 3 weeks ago, where indeed he said that we are not averse to making earnings from this. That is, we can create some controlled cultivation in a particular location and controlled export to some companies or countries out there that want to use this thing. But for us to use it, now, Yori, let me remind you that the 2018 report, drug use survey report, that remains a reference point today, gives us a figure of 14.3 million Nigerians abusing illicit substances. Out of that 14.3 million, 10.6 million of them alone abuse cannabis.
Okay.
Out of 14.3, 10.6 million, meaning that cannabis is the number one, is the drug of choice of abuse, is the number one drug of abuse in Nigeria. And when you look at the millions of kilograms I have told you that the agency have intercepted, whether in the forest, whether at the ports, on the streets, in our communities, almost 70% of them, again, are cannabis. And when you look at our drug use prevalence, based on the 2018 report of our drug use prevalence in Nigeria stands at 14.4% prevalence rate, which is almost 3 times against the global average of 5.6. Don't forget, there is a strong nexus between substance abuse and some of the security challenges we are facing, because nobody in his or her right senses will do the kind of things, things we see bandits, terrorists, or some other criminal elements do without taking these mind-altering substances. So we have to be very cautious. We have to be very careful. Given the high prevalence rate of substance abuse already, these are things we're dealing with every day. And then we now say we want to make this open. It's something that is illegal. And then we have 10.6 million people abusing it. That's as of 2018. By today, we don't know whether that figure would have doubled or tripled, because, we know that the predisposing factors or the causative factors are still very much there, and if not growing. So, meaning that the figure of those who are abusing these things could have doubled or tripled. So we have to be very careful. Okay. That's why we say for us, we are very much comfortable with the fact that Nigeria can have a controlled cultivation and export of this to other countries that want to. But for us here, we are not in that situation. We are not in that space yet. Okay.
And actually, I want to thank you for helping to save time, in the sense that I was going to ask a question, but you answered it just now. I was curious about what is the biggest problem in all the drugs. Which one? And you've answered that it is this very cannabis that, is the most widespread, apparently.
Whereas that I can tell you.
Whereas the other ones are still problems. Heroin, cocaine, I don't know some of the other ones. Those ones are still there. But by far, apparently, cannabis is the big problem. And you people, where you've heard people say you're doing a marvelous job. And what I can say from here is that thank you very much, along with all those people. Thank you very much for what you're doing. And we just hope that, it's not that we hope, we know you guys will win at the end of the day. So
definitely.
Let's just
Thank
leave
you very
it there.
much, Shori.
Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure joining you on this show. Thank you.
Indeed, my pleasure too. That's Femi Babafemi, the Director of Media and Advocacy of NDLEA. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there, but do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.